Are you thinking about moving to Ferndale, Michigan, where the motto is good neighbors? If so, then this video is for you. Hello and welcome to Living in Detroit. Today we're talking about the good neighbors, aka Ferndale, Michigan. My name is Matt Talbot. This is the Living in Detroit channel. We try to educate you on everything what has to do with Michigan, Southeast Michigan, living in Michigan, and moving to Michigan, specifically for out-of-town buyers or for people that are considering Michigan on their potential home search. So today, Ferndale, Michigan, like I said, their official model is good neighbors. There's a lot of reasons for that. So in this video, we want to do not a crazy deep dive, but somewhat of a deep dive into Ferndale, Michigan, a little bit about the current housing statistics, a little bit about some bars and restaurants and things to do there, and why they call Ferndale the good neighbors area. Okay, so first and foremost, where is Ferndale, Michigan? If you're moving from out of state and you don't know where Ferndale is, it sits in the Woodward corridor. It's about 15 minutes from Detroit, 10 to 15 minutes depending on what part of Ferndale you're in, and right on the Woodward corridor. So Woodward goes from downtown Detroit, goes directly through Ferndale and continues on through cities like Royal Oak and Birmingham and all the way through Bloomfield, okay? So the Woodward corridor is a interesting area, and Ferndale is right in the heart of it for many, many reasons. It sticks out in many people's hearts. So the city itself is just under 20,000. The more recent statistics are about 19,000 total people in Ferndale, Michigan. And like I said, sits in that Woodward corridor. For those of you who don't know what that means, not only are you right along that Woodward corridor, but you're about 40 minutes or so from Detroit Metropolitan Airport. Like I said, 10 minutes to downtown, but it's also very easy to get to cities like Troy, cities like Auburn Hills. A lot of different people move to this area for the different auto manufacturers and different companies in the general area. Also, the Woodward corridor is a great location for the GM plant in Warren and for a lot of other different people that sit sort of in that area. 696 goes east and west, runs right into Ferndale there, and then 75 goes north and south right there as well too. So you're on the 75 corridor as well as the 696 corridor to be able to get in and out of town depending on where you're going to. One of the reasons why it's such a sought out area. Ferndale's a very, very old city. It actually was first settled after the War of 1812, so it goes way back to the 1800s, and because of that, there's a lot of interesting nuances and a lot of interesting floor plans, home build types, just general layout in a town like that. You have homes from the 1800s, 1900s, all the way up to modern new construction builds in Ferndale. And so there's a lot of cool architecture for that reason. A lot of the homes are old Tudors, old bungalows, old colonials and stuff like that, as well as even old Victorians throughout Ferndale and the general area there in the Woodward corridor. So it's become a very popular area for a lot of years. So there's also a lot of new construction, tear down options in the Ferndale area, as well as a lot of things to do, which we'll get into in a minute. So first and foremost on this list of our things to do, we want to make it a little bit different today, is the Go Comedy Improv Theater. Shows as often as every week, sits around 90 people, available for rentals as well, and a full bar. So that can be a fun gig to go out and see comedy or improv. That's a good one in Ferndale. Luxury Lanes, the bowling alley, 16 lanes, sports bar, leagues, parties, all that good stuff. The Fifth Wall Escape Room, 3 different rooms, currently has been named Best Escape Room in 2019. So if you're into that type of stuff, the Magic Bag as well too, which is a concert venue, capacity about 400 people. Some good venues and some good artists that show up to that type of venue. It's right off Woodward and 9 Mile, right in the heart of Ferndale, which is like really what Ferndale is about. So everything meets at Woodward and then 9 Mile, and that's where all the different bars and restaurants, I mean, it's just really limitless of things to do in that area. So one of the reasons why Ferndale is so sought out as far as things to do is there's a lot of different festivals happening on a regular basis throughout the summer and throughout the year in Ferndale. One of the biggest, or probably the biggest, is definitely Pride every year. It's a huge thing in Ferndale for a lot of people. The Pig and Whiskey Festival is another one that happens in Ferndale every year, as well as the Cinco de Mayo party. And that all happens at the 9 Mile and Woodward corridor. A lot of times they shut down the streets, a lot of vendors right in the thick of all the different bars and restaurants and stuff like that. They also have patio season throughout the summer as well too, where they actually close down the sidewalks, and there's no like open intox where people kind of walk around and drink and enjoy a cocktail and stuff like that in certain areas in Ferndale throughout the year. So yeah, there's a lot of great things happening in Ferndale. Also, being on the Woodward corridor, there's other events and different festivals and stuff throughout the year. Like if you hop over to Royal Oak, which is just one city over, there's Art Beats and Eats and a lot of big festivals happening in cities like that. So one of the benefits of being in the Woodward corridor or being in a city like Ferndale is not just all the things happening in Ferndale, although there's a lot of great things, all the different options of what you can explore in the surrounding communities as well too. That's something like we like to hit on hard on this channel. One of my favorite things, one of the most undervalued thing in my opinion about Southeast Michigan as a whole here is when you are in one of these little towns, there's a lot of walking distance things, lots of things to do, but if you're willing to drive 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or 20 minutes to a different city, I mean, it's unlimited the different entertainment options, food options, restaurant options that you can really get into. So I like to repeat that consistently on this channel. If you follow our channel heavily, you know that I say that a lot because I think it is one of the benefits. It's one of the things that people don't know or realize when they're moving from out of town, that type of benefit of this Midwest listing. Do me a favor, if you do follow our channel, comment below. Let us know one of your favorite little towns or a favorite restaurant, maybe something like a hole in the wall or a dive bar that a lot of people might not know about. Comment below your favorite spots so we can share that with all the out of town buyers. Up next is our list of food in downtown Ferndale. So lots of options here. Some of my favorite that pop in my head, Fly Trap's always first and foremost, nearest and dearest to my heart, best brunch around, hands down. And there's a host of other different places in Ferndale too. Imperial comes to mind, Public House, One-Eyed Betty's, Bobcat Bonnie's. There's so many. Anita's Kitchen, there's the Arabic food, quick in and out type of lunch setup. I love that spot. Como's. There's a lot of good places in Ferndale as a whole as far as restaurants that you can go ahead and check out. A lot of good bar scene as well too. And again, the surrounding communities, the Woodward Corridor, hopping over to Birmingham or to Royal Oak or what have you. I mean, it's really limitless the amount of different places you can go check out on a regular basis within a 10-15 minute drive or less, living in a city like Ferndale. So lots of good food, lots of good drinks, lots of good event spaces and stuff like that to go check out in the general area when it comes to food and entertainment in Ferndale, Michigan. Up next on Good Neighbors, again, what the motto is for Ferndale, Michigan, is education. So Ferndale School District, 2 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 3 high schools, student-teacher ratio of 18-1, and graduation rate of 72% in Ferndale schools. And then up next, stay for the end because we want to check out the housing statistics. People are always wondering about the housing statistics in a city like Ferndale. That's up next. Before we jump into the housing statistics, like I said, my name is Matt Talbot. My team is the Talbot team, and soon to be Redefined Real Estate, our newest brokerage in town here. Work very, very heavily with out-of-town buyers, people looking to buy and sell throughout Southeast Michigan. We sold hundreds of homes over the last couple of years. So if you're thinking about moving, fill out the calendar link here in YouTube. Let's schedule a consultation today, get some conversations rolling, and take it from there. So last but not least on our Ferndale video today is housing statistics. Average price range, 252,000 to 270,000 on average. The median is 252,000. Average home size is 2,000 square feet roughly. So like I said, because of its being an older city, because of the 1800s and 1900s builds and stuff like that, with that 2,000 square foot average home in Ferndale, one of the reasons why it's so sought out is because it's a good area for a lot of starter homes for a lot of people. There are bigger homes there as well too, of course, for bigger families or people that need more space. But for a lot of people that want downtown living, they want to walk to bars and restaurants, check out all the festivals and stuff like that. A lot of those people are typically skew a little bit younger, and a lot of times, you know, they're more in that starter home type phase. There's a lot of that stuff happening in Ferndale. Not saying you can't move your family there, not saying there's not other options. There's of course a lot of that as well too, but with those older homes, a lot of times they're not those big 3,000-4,000 square foot colonials like you might see in other areas throughout Southeast Michigan. Days on market, 18 days in Ferndale. Market selling like that. They sell really, really fast on average. 18 days is very, very low there. And then we always talk about price per foot. Price per square foot of the house. So total square footage, the total price divided by the total square footage gives you a price per square foot. Helps us understand kind of what areas are selling for, a little bit about averages as far as, you know, bang for your buck, because different areas have different size homes. Because of the average size home in Ferndale, I think this is a little bit higher than some of the surrounding areas, but average price per square foot, $236 median and $232 average. So over $200 a square foot. And like we talked about earlier, the different home build types, bungalows, the newer homes are craftsman style for the most part in Ferndale as well too. So a lot of the teardowns or new construction are craftsman style. There are some apartment options. There are some condo options throughout Ferndale and the general Woodward Corridor as well too, if that's something that's of interest to you. Definitely if you hop over to Royal Oak, there's some more high-end loft style places as well too. So one of the reasons why we work so heavily in the Woodward Corridor in cities like Ferndale is because of Beaumont Hospital being right there. A lot of the residents, whether they're at Beaumont or whether they're downtown Detroit and one of the hospitals there, choose that Woodward Corridor to live in. So we help place a lot of residents, a lot of physicians, a lot of doctors, work very, very heavily with doctors in this area. And so a lot of times condo living is a good setup for them because they don't have the house to take care of and stuff like that. So it's all based on your flavor and your unique situation as you're going to move here. But if you're thinking about moving to the area, you want to dive into some of those specifics, let us know. We can definitely help you out there. Last but not least, we definitely wanted to talk about Pleasant Ridge, which is technically its own entity, but sits underneath Ferndale Schools. Pleasant Ridge is like one of my favorite areas in Southeast Michigan. It's this little pocket in town off Woodward there, right in the Ferndale area. It sits like right in Ferndale, basically. And the average price there is $404,000. 410 is the median, and days on market is 15 days. Okay, so these houses are really cool old houses. They've all been really well maintained. The subdivision is very mature because it's been there for a very long time. Huge trees, really cool architecture, lots of history in Pleasant Ridge. One of my favorite areas, hands down, is Pleasant Ridge, right off Ferndale. So not a big enough area to probably be its own video, but definitely something to note. One of my favorite places in Southeast Michigan and definitely in the Ferndale community. So Ferndale, Michigan, aka their motto, good neighbors. I totally believe in that the most. It is a very tight-knit community, lots of good vibes happening. You move there to be able to socialize. You move there to get along with your neighbors, to do stuff downtown, to go to the bars and restaurants. That's what Ferndale is about. It has a very lively energy, a lot of things happening without a doubt, and sits in that Woodward corridor. Like I said, you can get to downtown Detroit, you can get to Royal Oak, you can get to Birmingham. I mean, it sits in such a great area. So for that reason, a lot of uniqueness. I totally love Ferndale. I love the area for a lot of people. So a lot of people moving to the area, that's definitely a target portion of our business that are moving to that part of town and work in that part of town for a lot of different reasons. Thank you so much for checking out today's video. Ferndale, Michigan. My name is Matt Talbot. This is Living in Detroit. Stay tuned for another video just like this, especially if you want to learn more about Southeast Michigan and Michigan as a whole.